So we've all seen it, right? We're going on Amazon and we're shopping around for a TV or a laptop, and we put things in our cart to proceed to checkout, and this is when it hits us, $1,200 for that TV. That's a lot of money. I could put it on my credit card, but that means that I would have to pay that by the end of the month or before the end of my statement. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to pay like huge fees, huge interest, and I don't want that. It's a lot of money. And then I noticed that little sign that says, why don't you pay in 12 monthly installment of $100 a month? No interest. Now, when I saw it, this was very tempting. In fact, a little too tempting. So tempting, in fact, that I said, like, what's the catch? Like, who's making money in all this? Who are they trying to attract? There's a lot of questions I had to get answers for. So with this new awareness, I kept seeing this buy now, pay later links everywhere. I mean, even DoorDash has a buy now, pay later. You can go and get your $15 burger and then pay it in 4 easy installments of $3.50 or something, right? This is insane. Something that you're gonna buy, you're gonna eat in 15 minutes, you're gonna take 4 months to pay for it? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Then I saw it also at grocery stores. I mean, there was kind of like alarm bells ringing about the situation, but I didn't know exactly if it was a problem. It feels good at the same time as you feel like there's something that I'm missing, that people are gonna get in trouble. Clear why so many people are attracted to that pay later option. You have this big price tag that you can now split up into small installments with 0 interest, 0 fees. I mean, this almost seems too good to be true. But that's exactly the point. What if this easy breezy method of payment is actually a trap, something that kind of like nudges you, buy more, buy over your budget, etc. So in this video, I'm gonna show you why I think the buy now, pay later could be problematic for some individuals. I'm gonna also talk about what problem is this trying to solve? Who's making money at this? What's behind the scene that makes this buy now, pay later work for the retailer as well as the consumer? I'm also going to talk about the hidden risk associated with the buy now, pay later, the psychological tricks that are being used, being aware of those tricks so that you don't fall into any kind of bad traps. And by the end of the video, you should know if and when you should use the buy now, pay later option and how to protect yourself. But let's dive right into it. So why is this a problem? Why am I so nervous about these buy now, pay later options? Who's gonna get in trouble? Well, one survey showed that 25% of buy now, pay later users finance groceries in 2025. This is amazing. Think about that. 24% of buy now, pay later users admitted that they blew past their budget using that option. And about 16% ended up missing at least one regular bill payment after juggling multiple purchases on the buy now, pay later platforms. And another statistic is that 15% of users even regretted purchasing that item, but they were kind of forced to buy the item. It was just, they couldn't resist the temptation of buying that item because of the buy now, pay later option. So these are just statistics, but when you think about it, when people are financing groceries, when people are going to DoorDash to pay their burger over 4 months, there should be some kind of red flag somewhere saying that, you know, this is not a good idea. On one hand, is it something that they're trying to do to entrap people, or is this a sign that something is wrong with the economy, that people don't have the money to buy groceries for their family, that they're forced to finance and then say, the heck with it? Part of the problem is that a lot of users don't realize that these buy now, pay later options are really debt. You're getting a loan, but it doesn't feel, when you're actually doing the purchase, it doesn't feel like you're getting a loan. It just feels like you're splitting payments over a period of time. Now, 2/3 of buy now, pay later loans are actually going towards the low credit score individual. Now, why is that? I think part of the reason for this is that the younger generations may not have a good credit score yet, but they are online, they are on Amazon, they are on all these platforms. They're users of these platforms. How are they supposed to buy a TV or a laptop if they don't have their own credit card? So they see this as a very convenient way to buy the things that they want. And, you know, I'm fine with that. I want to make sure, though, that everybody is aware that they are getting a loan. Once everybody realizes that this is a loan, you want to make sure that they're disciplined about managing this loan to make sure that they don't miss payment and they don't go off tracks with their loan, because that would eventually affect their credit score. I want to say also that nearly 25% of these buy now, pay later users had to pay a late fee in 2024. That's a quarter of the users. And as I was mentioning, a lot of the people that are targeted, that are using this platform, are the younger individuals. So let's talk about what problem does the buy now, pay later solve. So what problem does it solve for the consumer? I think we talked a little bit about that, but there's more. It also solves a big problem for the retailers, and I think we're going to talk about that. I also want to know, like, what's happening behind the scene? Who's making money? If you're getting a loan to buy this laptop or TV at $1,200 and it's zero interest and zero fees, like, someone must be making money, and the money must be coming from somewhere, right? So that's what we need to figure out. And once we figure that out, we're going to be closer to understanding the motivation behind that service. What are they trying to do, and how are they going to grow their revenue? How are they going to grow their profit? So I know it looks a lot like free money and there's no problem, but really this is big business. So in 2025, in the US alone, it was $70 billion business for the buy now, pay later. And it's projected to reach 122 by the end of 2025. So it's almost doubling in a couple of years. So this is pretty phenomenal. So let's talk about the problems that it solves for the consumer. So first of all, it really removes the pain of buying. So when you're buying a television for $1,200, it is pretty painful. You feel it. Even though you're going to put it on your credit card, you're going to realize that, well, I have to pay that. I have to come up with $1,200 by the end of the month. So that's going to be, the pain is there. It might be delayed a few weeks, but it's still going to be there. By converting this big price tag into smaller price tag of $100 a month, then it really reduces that pain point. You just figure out that, hey, it's $100. I'm going to have the TV at home, and then I'll be able to watch it. That's worth $100 a month, right? So that's what people are thinking. There are definitely situations where it's beneficial to use that service. I'm not going to throw the whole thing should be banned, but you have to be careful. It does help with cash flows. So some consumers might need to actually buy this particular item. They are short on cash and they know that cash is going to come a little bit later, but they want to have this item now. So think of it as, I need to have a water heater. I need to have like a washing machine or something like that. So I need to buy it now and I can pay it over time. So that kind of makes sense. And I'm going to talk about some of the rules that I think would be appropriate to make sure you stay out of trouble. So that's kind of what we have for the consumers. It kind of like helps maintain the cash flow, stay on budget as much as possible. Now, in the end, what's good for the consumer is also going to be good for the retailer. So the consumer is happy. They're willing to spend more money. If you make it easy to spend money, then the retailers are going to be happy, right? Here are some of the ways that the retailers are really benefiting from this payment plan. Number one, it's increased conversion rate. So imagine, as I mentioned in my example, I mean, you're buying this TV, you put it in your cart, and then you're about to say proceed to checkout and say, well, yeah, that's a lot of money. Maybe is it the right purchase? Maybe I should wait for Prime Day or something like that to get a discount on that item. So you could delay purchases. You could talk to someone else to see if they have a TV that they want to sell. You have other options that you could potentially look at. And but when you have a buy now, pay later option and you say, well, you could buy it now, you can have it home today, and then you only have to pay $100 for the next 12 months, no interest, nothing. So it feels pretty good. So it really helps you kind of like click on that button and say, okay, I want to purchase this item now. So that's called the conversion rate, making sure that whatever is in the cart is actually going to be converted into a sale. It also increases the average order values. There's a couple of different ways that it's doing that. One of them is by, again, that when you get to the checkout and you have many, many items and you have one large items, you might say, well, I'm going to get rid of some of the other items because I have to buy this large TV. I'm going to get rid of the small ones. That's what you would do if you're on a budget, you want to manage your cash flow, your expenses. So that's what you would do. But now with the buy now, pay later option, you're saying, well, the TV is only $100 and I can continue to buy the rest of the stuff that is going to maintain, that's going to give you a higher order value at that point. Also, when you're buying for expensive items, sometimes people substitute that expensive item for a knockoff, something that's going to be a little bit cheaper. So now with the buy now, pay later option, they can actually keep that expensive item, buy this item that has like a brand name, and then feel great about it and feel that they're not buying a knockoff. So that also is going to increase the order value. And finally, it could be additional options. So if I come at a price point and I would really like all these other options, but they would cost like an extra $500, I don't have the money for that. Now with the buy now, pay later option, I say, wow, it's only going to be an extra $25 on my bill per month. So yeah, let's just throw them in. So that's really helping increase the order value, which is, again, very good for the retailer. Another way that the retailers are benefiting from is that they don't have to push discounts as much. And the reason for this is that now it makes it more convenient. In the old days, I mean, if you had a TV at $1,200 and it was not moving, you would have to kind of like reduce the price and give a discount or do whatever, right? So, but now you're offering a service, you're making it more convenient for them to buy this item. And so that's why there's less of a need to provide a discount for the consumer. Earlier, we talked about what kind of individuals were really benefiting from this buy now, pay later option. And so a lot of these people, they don't have a credit card right now. They have low credit score, or they're very young. They're 18 years old to 25 years old, and they really don't have a credit card yet maybe. So this gives them the opportunity to go and purchase items on Amazon, etc., without having a credit card. So from the retailer's perspective, it increases the number of qualified buyers. And the more buyers you have, the better it is. Also, a lot of these customers had like poor credit scores. These are the key problems that the buy now, pay later options are solving for the retailers. And these are massive. Now, I think it'd be beneficial to understand exactly what's happening behind the scene when you click on that buy now, pay later option. So you are on Amazon and you are shopping around, you're adding items to your cart, and then you go proceed to checkout, and then you see beside some of these items in your cart that you have this buy now, pay later option, or you can pay with certain monthly payment. So you click on these options. When you click on these options, it actually connects you with the lender. So this could be a lender like Affirm, Klarna, there's a number of them out there. And then they are financial tech companies there to help you kind of like lend you money so you can buy this item. The next thing is that you're going to provide some information to that lender, and that lender is going to quickly look at your credit score. They're going to do what's called a soft credit check. They're going to gather all your information, and then they're going to approve you for that loan. Most likely. If they don't approve you for that loan, you have serious credit problems. So once you have that, then, and you confirm everything, and you say proceed to checkout, then the seller receives the money for the payment. So some of it could be some credit card, others is going to come from the financial lender, like Affirm or Klarna. And Affirm or Klarna are going to give most of the money, maybe like 90 to 95% of the money, to the retailer. So if the TV is $1,200, let's say it's like 5% of that, that's what, $80? So they're gonna give like $1,120 to the retailer for the television or for the laptop. And then the retailer is gonna send you the television. You're gonna have the television at home, you're gonna owe money to Affirm or Klarna, and then the retailer has been paid off yet. So now your relationship with the television and with the payment, who owns the television, is Klarna or Affirm. And then your relationship now is with that lender, not with the retailer. So as far as they're concerned, Amazon sold the television for $1,120. So I understand the consumer part of it is pretty nice. The retailer part of it is pretty nice. They paid like between 5 and 10% of the fee to Affirm or Klarna, to the lender, for basically selling the television, and they get paid off right away. So that works out great for them. And Affirm and Klarna, they get a little bit of money. They get like $80, 5 or 10%. And the lender is also a little bit happy because they get a little fee up front, about between 5 and 10% of the purchase price of the item. But if you're Affirm and Klarna, you just don't feel like this is that much money, right? So the next thing is that what you realize is that this is not the only way that they make money. Do you remember all the statistics I mentioned at the beginning? So when you have a quarter of your users, the people that are using your service, are actually having late fees and then missing payments, potentially other fees that you can charge on top of that. And this is where you make your money. Another way that these lenders are making money is that they collect a ton of data. A ton of data on people. They're not using the credit system that much. And now we're starting to get data about the credit data about these individuals, as well as purchasing data. What kind of stuff did they like to buy? And then this data is like a gold mine, literally, because they are mining this data to find out all kinds of patterns and also making decision on whether they should give you a credit card, whether they should give you a loan on some things, or if they should sell you certain products, etc. So this data is very valuable to them and they sell that data. But I'm sure that's not a big surprise to you because everybody's selling your data. Amazon's selling your data. Everybody else does the same thing. But this is another source of revenue for them. So they get the fee up front, and then they get like 25% of the users have to pay late fees, interest, and all kinds of stuff that normally they wouldn't have to. So that shouldn't surprise you too much because, other people are also selling your data. Amazon, Facebook, you name it. Everybody is selling your data to everybody else, so it shouldn't surprise you. But these are basically the three sources of revenue for these lenders, right? The fee in upfront for providing the loan, and then after that, the late fees and the interest payment, and then also selling the data to marketing companies and other companies in general. So we talked about a lot of the problems that this is causing. Now that we understand kind of like what's the landscape, how the system works, who's benefiting from that. I mean, a lot of things is very good about this, but I feel that a lot of people are getting into trouble because they don't realize it's a loan. It doesn't feel like it's real money. And really the system is geared against them. They make it super easy for people to get a loan, not making it feel like they're getting a loan. So they're just like splitting payments. So now that we understand the landscape of how all of this works, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, I don't think any of these players, they're really trying to trick you in some obvious illegal ways. Everybody is driven by different things. The consumer wants to have the thing, and they think it's convenient to be able to borrow and spread the payment over multiple months. And there are definitely situations where it's beneficial. Same thing with the retailer. They want to get the money up front. They don't want to give a payment plan, but at the same time, they want to sell the TV. So it's good for them. Then when we look at the lenders, I mean, they want to make money. They have a lot of money that they want to lend to people, and they want to make a profit. So it all kind of made sense. It's just that the people that are taking advantage of that are a little bit people that are more vulnerable consumers in the group. So what are the things that you should be looking for as a consumer to make sure that you stay out of trouble? So I think the biggest risk is the loan stacking, and people don't pay too much attention to that. First of all, because they don't realize that this is a loan that they're getting. But I think this is very, very critical. So what do I mean by loan stacking? I mean that you're getting 1, 2, 3 or more buy now, pay later loans, and then you're kind of stacking them one on top of another. For most people, it might be fine as long as you are disciplined about the loans, that you really understand the loans that you're getting into, when the payments are coming through. Make sure that you set up automatic payment in your bank account, and make sure that the bank accounts have money in them, because the last thing you want is to go in overdraft and have to pay an overdraft fee on top of the late fee, on top of the interest, and then whatever money you thought you saved by going on a buy now, pay later option, I mean, that saving is gone instantly. So one of the statistics here is that 60% of buy now, pay later users had multiple loans going at once. So this is a lot of people that have multiple loans. The next risk, and people may not realize that this is a loan. So if you default on your payment, if you miss a payment, it could affect your credit score. So again, a lot of the people that are doing this is because they have poor credit scores already. Now, when they try to build that credit score, that could be damaged for a long period of time because they missed the payment. Another big issue that I see is that people are using it for consumable stuff, like the things of daily lives. We talked about DoorDash and the hamburger. We also talk about people going to the grocery stores and using it to pay for groceries. And this is a major red flag. If you're using these buy now, pay later to buy things that you consume consume daily, like the hamburger or the groceries. You should never be doing this. And here's an example of that. So let's say you have groceries, your grocery bill every month is $400, and then you go and you see that option, you say pay in 4 payments. So you pay $400 today with the groceries, and then you pay $100 each month after that for the next 3 months. So $100 today, feel good. $100, and then I'm gonna pay $100 every month for the rest of the groceries. But the next month arrive, and then I wanna buy my $400 of groceries. Well, I have to pay my $100 from last month, plus I have to pay $100 for this month's groceries, and then I spread out another 3 payments after that. When I go to the third month, I have to pay the previous 2 grocery bills plus the one for that month. So now I'm at $300 in payments for that month for the grocery, and I spread the rest of the payment. And the thing is that when this whole thing got started, you couldn't pay $400 a month for the groceries, so that's why you went into that buy now, pay later. But on the 4th month, what happens? Now you have to pay the previous 3 months bill, and you have to pay the 4th month. So now you're paying $400, but 3 of them are for previous groceries, and only $100 is towards a grocery that you're buying this month. So this is basically creating a death trap. There's no way to get out of it unless you bring in more money, an extra $300, pay off the debt so that you can get back to paying $400 a month. So what I'm recommending is that if you're gonna get a loan from a buy now, pay later option, to make sure that the length of that loan is significantly shorter, the duration of the enjoyment for what you're buying with it. So for example, if you're buying a TV, you're gonna be watching the TV for 2 or 3 years. That's great. Then you get like a buy now, pay later option over 12 months or 6 months, and then you get to enjoy the TV after that. So you kind of like spread your payments over a certain period of time. It could also be like a sofa. So I just bought a sofa, for example, and I spread the payment over 12 months, and it's interest-free, no fees and all that. And then I get to enjoy it for the next 4 or 5 years. So that works out great. Groceries is a little bit different. I buy my $400 groceries. I'm gonna use it for the month. After the month, I don't wanna have more payments that I have to make for something that I've already consumed. So make sure you stay away from these situations. Otherwise, you're gonna create another death trap for you. So when does it make sense to use buy now, pay later? So option 1 could be for large purchases that you absolutely need, like a water heater, furnace, washer and dryer, something that you need to have now that's a necessity, and then you can enjoy that product for much longer than the duration or the term of the loan. That's typically the kind of thing that you want to use it for. Now, how do you protect yourself? So first of all, recognize that there's a lot of psychology at play. The whole design on the website, the structure of the buy now, pay later, the colors and all of that. Realize there's a lot of psychology at play, and they want to sell to you. So that's number 1. And you want to treat it like a real loan. They're going to try to make it feel like it's not even real money, but you want to kind of like stay calm and say, hey, this is real money that I'm spending. Would I be buying this item today if I had to pay cash today? Or if I had to pay cash by the end of the month, or if I had to put it on my credit card. So think about that in those terms, and then really for things that are not absolutely necessary, you may want to delay purchases if it doesn't make sense. You also want to stay disciplined, especially if you have more than one of these loans. You want to have like a spreadsheet, know exactly when the payments are coming out. You want to review these loan statements. So often they have a portal that you can go to and see what interest you're paying, any kind of fees that you're paying, what's due, when is the end date for the payment, when you have to pay it, and not any expenses. So these are the kind of things that you want to keep track of, and make sure that you're very, very conservative about the dates. Make sure that you plan to have that money when it's necessary, because you don't want to incur any additional fees. So these buy now, pay later options, there are some good and some bad in there. So you have to be careful to stay away from these traps. Be disciplined. Buy only on things that matters to you that are needed, and then be very, very careful and disciplined. So that's the key here. I hope you like this video. Make sure you save and share this video with someone who needs to understand how buy now, pay later actually works. Could be the young generation, could be someone that you've seen that is stacking up a lot of these pay later options, and you want to make sure that they stay out of trouble. So make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.